Judy, do you get the message?
What message?
It's a new episode of Garden Time.
Ooh. Welcome to Garden Time. William, is there another message?
There is. At Garland Nursery, it's the Art and Wine in the Garden event.
I could have told you that. We're at Garland Nursery today for their Art and Wine in the Garden, which is happening today and tomorrow. And later in the show, I'll be talking with Lee and Brenda about all those details.
Also on the show today, we are going to be showing you some midsummer plants.
We'll also be giving you some ideas about 10-minute gardening.
But coming up first, how to build a lotus bowl. So I'm standing here with Eamon Hughes from Hughes Water Gardens, and Eamon, I suspect that you have a delight for us today because I'm seeing something over here that I don't normally see. So before we get started, tell me what we're going to do.
Well, we'd shot over the years so many different types of water bowls, and I thought when I saw this at the nursery today, it's one of the miniature lotus.
Yeah.
So it was perfect to put in a water bowl.
So I've got to ask some questions because I know people out there are thinking them. Honestly, why would we plant this up in a beautiful bowl if it's just going to die this winter? That's what I think most of us think about this kind of plant.
Yeah, well, lotus is actually hardly to zone 4.
Oh,
I mean, it'll grow in Chicago. It'll overwinter in Chicago. So once it's underwater, it's fine for the winter.
And even in the future, if people have questions about it, they can always come out and see you directly, can't they? So we've got that, all right? I'm delighted about that. So tell us, what is your plan here? Because I see some soil as well.
Yep.
So what are we doing?
What I'm thinking of doing is do an isolated bowl. This is in its own container.
Uh-huh.
So we'll place it, this one is called Sunny Sky, which we need at this time of year.
It's true.
So we'll place that. It's a beautiful little center, and it's starting to drop its petals at this point.
Well, we all do.
And very, very fragrant as well. So what we're doing is we're placing that in the middle. That's got its own water. We don't have to worry about it.
So this is a bowl that isn't it's got a hole in it.
It's got a hole in
drainage?
it,
Okay.
so we can do terrestrial plants in this.
And this holds the water.
And this will hold the water.
All right.
So you have your lotus. A lot of people think these pads have to be right at water level, but they don't. They stand up in the air. So we can bring the soil and everything right up over the top of the pot. All of the stems and the blossoms will be emerged out of that. So all we want to do now is do something over the edges of this.
And you're just going to pick some more aquatic type plants.
We can do aquatic if we want to do a water bowl, or these will grow in soil or in water.
Okay.
This one is called Water Sprite. It is important to pick up, it has a little pink lilac color, so make sure you pick the tones that'll suit the flower. If you have a white one, you can go with white flowers, or something complementary, and that'll help. If you want to have something a little brighter, you know, something like Creeping Jenny would work on the edge as well. So just go to your local store, see what appeals to you, what you think will work around this. Or if you, here's a beautiful one. This is the zebra quill. It's not quite hardy in the northwest, it's zone 9, but it has very pretty pink flowers and this wonderful striation.
Yes, the leaves on it looks lovely too.
It doesn't quite, I don't feel it works as well with this foliage, but so pick something that will work well with the foliage. So this softness works well with that foliage. Another potential plant is this little hydrocotyle. It's young at the moment, but right in here, see the pink? This develops pink edges in the sun, and that would be a lovely, complementary thing there as well. So let's pop a few in. Here's one I haven't spoken about. This is a ranunculus, and this foliage does very well with this as well.
Yes, it does.
So we'll drop a few of these in, and
all right, well, let's do that. We're going to drop a few in, and then we're going to take a break and be right back when we get it all put together. All right, Eamon, we are here. You've done with the creation of the planting, and what are you doing just finishing up here?
That's the last plant in, and then I decided, Northwest hazelnut shells are really good in some of the yards.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd try it here. I've never tried it before, and I really like the effect. And this will keep, helps keep slugs off. keep some hydration in the soil. It's also decorative, stop some of the weeds.
But I have to say, you put them on the lotuses
I floated
too,
them into
didn't
the
you?
lotus as well. I'm sort of
Okay.
hiding the pots, so now we have this lovely effect of that just
Wow.
going through there.
And it really does look like it's just one. It doesn't. You don't know there's a separation of soil and water
no,
at
that's
all.
why I'm trying to just blend that
Beautiful.
in. And then I spotted this at the nursery. I think it's cute. I think maybe peeking you up, seeing that it is a sacred plant.
Right. Right.
I think that looks
So now we've got the beauty of it. We've
Yeah.
got the new information about the lotus. What does one do to maintain this, though?
well. To maintain it, you just have to keep water in the central area there. Water your other plants as you normally would in a planter, but you want to feed the lotus. That's really important.
Okay.
So if you have a water garden store nearby, they would have some of those little tablets. They're water aquatic tablets, and you just pop in 3 or 4 of those to keep it fed throughout the season. Because this was today's bloom. It lasts about 3 days. It's closing up at this time of the day, but they have a beautiful center on them.
Because they do close up in the evening,
They
right?
close up in the evening. This will be fully open tomorrow, and here we have
Wow.
a couple of days later and a couple of days later. So you have that continuity all summer.
And that requires the feeding. You
And
have
that
to do
requires
that,
the feeding.
okay.
And the same on your plants. I mean, choose a plant like this pink sprite will flower all summer. This is a spring flowering, this is foliage. So if you want some more colour in the foreground, you could just do it all with something that would be
Would
giving
give
you
you
some
that.
flower all summer long.
Okay, now certainly though, let's say we had a winter like we had this year again that
yes,
was
yes,
just
yes.
awful, but for any winter, what is our care for these?
Lotus in ponds here can stay in all year, and it's never a problem, even in those severe winters. But a little one like this is more isolated, so
Right.
this could freeze solid and damage the tuber. So again, you have a pot. Take Mr. Buddha out, lift your pot up, pop him into a 5-gallon bucket, and during the worst of the weather, you can leave it in the garage. You can take it out, during the milder spells. Some winters we don't have enough freeze. If it's just light freezing, it's of no effect.
No.
But that deep freeze where we would get, a week of intense cold weather, this could get impacted.
And then of course you always encourage people to come out to Hughes Water Gardens and talk to the staff there
Talk to
and
staff.
figure out what's going on. Well, there you have it. One of the things I love about Garden Time is even I always learn something new. This is new for me. If you want some more information about it, we encourage you to always go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to their website. Come out and make your own lotus pot beautiful thing for your own house. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thanks very much. Okay.
Is your garden getting tired? Don't let your garden fizzle out because of the summer heat. Stop by Wavra Farms for a refresher in summer color. We carry a great selection of plants that love the summer. Give your garden the splash of color that it deserves. Your outdoor entertaining will be more enjoyable when you are surrounded by beautiful plants, wonderful flowers, and great fragrance. Let us show you what a summer garden should be. Wavra Farms, just east of Salem, off Highway 22 at the Joseph Street exit.
2 stages, 25 shows, 1 sweet weekend. It's the 26th annual Oregon Jamboree presented by Boulder Falls Inn, starring Brett Eldridge, Brantley Gilbert, Maren Morris, Low Cash, Jared Neiman, and Diamond Rio. The Oregon Jamboree happening August 3rd through the 5th. Tickets and camping on sale now at OregonJamboree.com.
Well, I am in the beautiful display garden out in the garden nursery with Carol. And Carol, it just looks stunning. And it's midsummer, and it still looks lovely.
Thank you.
And really, I think if you just keep it up, all of us can have nice plants like this in our gardens.
I've worked really hard in the nursery to add plants for all year-round interest, so we've got a whole table of them here. There are things that are just coming into bloom now, and we're at the end of July.
So perfect for us to add color into our
Right.
summer gardens.
Right.
So what is this tall one? That's gorgeous.
This is a eubatorium or a Joe Pye weed. This one is called Pink Frost. It's just starting to bloom. It probably doesn't bloom quite as big as the species, but it has this beautiful variegated foliage. And they're really wonderful because they're completely deciduous, but they'll make a great screen for like summer. If you have places on your deck or something you want to screen for the summer, that will do it for you. Plus, it'll bring in the bees and the butterflies.
Oh, perfect. And then blue flowers. Oh my gosh, there's not a lot of blue flowers.
There's not a lot. These are Caryopteris. It's one of my favorite groups of plants. I've got 3 varieties here, but I've got another 5 or 6 in the nursery because they're just one of my favorites. I forgot my really nice variegated one. But so this one is Little Miss Sunshine, a nice gold leaf just starting to bloom. This is Longwood Bloom. These are going to be both in the 3 to 4 foot range. And then in the front is Beyond Midnight. It's a little more compact. You can see it's a little darker foliage, a little darker flower as well. And these two are bee magnets. They will just be literally swarming with bees and all different kinds. It's really fun to watch.
And sun for the Joe Pye and for these?
And they're sun, and actually they're quite drought tolerant. The Joe Pye weed it comes from the East Coast that likes a little more summer water, but it's pretty tough. And both of these, once they're well established, they're not a big water user. Joe Pye weed will let you know when it needs a drink.
Okay, and I love the blue next to this yellow.
This is a dwarf solidago or dwarf goldenrod. Most of them are usually up in the 5 or 6 foot range, and this is like 2, maybe 2.5. And it's another bee magnet, bright color, really drought tolerant, once well established as well.
Nice. And then going towards allium, I don't think about alliums this time of year.
Exactly. There's 3 different ones here. I've been trying to play with them to see what the difference is. There's a little bit of succession in blooming. If you planted all of them, you'll really extend your bloom time, but they're long bloomers. Again, the bees love them. A little bit of foliage and height difference in them, but they'll take a sunny, dry spot and bloom for weeks and weeks and weeks in the summer.
And I love that you leave all the flowers up. I mean, you have some from earlier, and they're really cool kind of texture, even though they're dried in the garden.
I leave them till I can't stand looking at them anymore.
And then grasses. Grasses are really coming into their own this time of year.
I love grasses. I think they're one of those groups that's really overlooked. I mean, this is Buddleia, this is Blonde Ambition. Cute. I mean, it's just amazing. Look at the texture on that in a mass. It's really, really impressive. And these flowers will hold for months.
Nice.
And it's very drought tolerant.
And it's a short one too.
Yeah, it's
a good one.
Under 3 feet.
Right.
And this in the front is actually a dwarf Rudbeckia. We're used to Goldstrom, which is about twice as high. This is little Goldstrom. But sometimes you don't want really huge things, or you want something a little tighter. So it behaves and blooms just like Goldstrom, but it's about half the size.
And sun too.
And sun as well. Yeah, all the grasses. At this point, everything we're talking about today is sun lovers.
And I love variegated grasses because they're interesting right away.
They are. This is one of my favorite. This is Melina variegata. If it was evergreen or a little more winter interest, it'd be a perfect plant, but it's not. But what I've found, everything you read about it says it wants moist, well drained. I have it in a really dry spot. It gets watered 3 or 4 times a summer, and it's gorgeous.
Nice, nice. And then a striped one, that's a pretty one
This
too.
is a newer miscanthus. There's lots and lots of striped miscanthus. This one is bandwidth, which is a nice, because it's a little smaller. It's in the 2 to 3 foot range instead of the 5 to 6 or 7 to 8 like some of them are. So it's much more compact, would be a much nicer container plant. And it does stripe up really early. Some of them don't stripe up until late in the summer or until the plant's several years old.
Ah, true. And then another flowering one at the end?
Yeah, the one in the front, this is Pennisetum Carly Rose, and it's one of my all-time favorites. I actually love it with the blue of the Caryopteris. Sure. It will bloom all summer. It's one of the earliest grasses to bloom, and it will have flowers on it from mid-June till frost.
Wow, wonderful. And then I like this one. We put a whole bunch together just to kind of show the coloring. So what is this one?
This is a new panicum called Hot Rod, and it's a little taller. I've been growing burgundy ribbons for a couple years. It's about 3.5 feet, but this is going to be up in the 4 to 6 foot range. I haven't put it in the garden here in our climate, so I have a feeling we're going to be pushing that 6 foot range. And then they're just starting to bloom. They just have a really nice little airy bloom. They're quite columnar compared to a lot of the grasses too, so it can really be a nice screening or accent plant.
And then when do you take these down? I mean, I leave them up all winter.
I leave them most of the winter until I leave them until I can't stand looking at them anymore, because it depends on what our fall and winter does. Sometimes we'll have a really hard early frost and they'll look terrible in October, and other times they'll look great till January, February. So I usually just wait till we have a nice day sometime in February and go cut them back down.
Now, Out in the Garden Nursery isn't about plants this weekend, so what's going on tomorrow?
It's our 7th annual Wine and Cheese in the Garden. We bring a big party in the garden. We have 2 blues bands. We have 3 wineries, a cidery, several different kinds of food, from baked goods, hot dogs, a little bit of everything. Plus you can shop in the nursery to live blues music.
And what's the times?
They're from noon to 5.
And where can we find out all this information?
The most detailed information is on my Facebook page, but the basic information is also on my website.
Well, you know, you can go to Garden Time, click over to their website or the Facebook page. You got to come out. It's just beautiful. You'll be in the shade under these gorgeous oaks, so it'll be a great time tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Do you want to be green? Do the easy stuff first. Hi, I'm Sarah from Portland Nursery. The U.S. House Energy and Commerce Committee says for every dollar spent on a shade tree, you can save $5 on cooling, blocking the penetrating heat in the summer and allowing the warm rays through in the winter. Dollar for dollar, there's no better energy and money saver than a good, deciduous shade tree. Portland Nursery's professionals can help you make the perfect selection. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Standard TV and Appliance asks, what do you want in new appliances?
Do you want GE's gas, electric, convection, induction, stainless steel, slate, French door, Energy Star, top load, front load, high efficiency, or huge capacity?
I want it all. Yeah, I want everything.
Refresh and save with GE Cafe. Upgrade your kitchen and save up to $1,500 when you buy 4 GE Cafe appliances. Standard TV and Appliance.
Stop and smell a rose, hear a child laugh, see the beauty that is Oregon. You will find all this and more at the Oregon Garden in historic Silverton. 400-year-old oaks, edible landscapes, a children's garden. The Oregon Garden has something for everyone. You can ensure the garden remains a jewel in the Mid-Willamette Valley through your support as an individual, family, or corporate member. Support the garden that showcases the diverse botanical beauty of our state, the Oregon Garden.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
It is a special weekend at Garland Nursery. It is Art and Wine in the Garden, and it's happening today and tomorrow. So Brenda, tell us a little bit about the art that is going to be here.
Sure. So we have over 35 artists that will be here. Traditionally, when you think of art, you think of oil and watercolor paintings and maybe photography. And yes, we will have those artists here, but we'll have so many other things as well. We have recycled glass bottle art. Recandle Company will be here again. Other creative glass art for outdoor decoration in your garden. Kathy's recycled metal art will be here. She does great things with like chains and gears and different things, very creative, so she'll be here again. And then we'll have lots of candles, soaps, seasonings, and jewelry, lots of jewelry too. So it's fun. It's just an eclectic group of people, and they're just fantastic.
They are, and I love that you have it like out around in the nursery. So you get to see plants, you get to see art, and really tour the whole nursery.
Yes, absolutely. And the wonderful flowers that are blooming right now just provide the perfect backdrop for all of that great art.
Oh, they sure do. Well, there's not just art here, there's other things going on. And so Lee, tell us about that.
Yes, we have, well, the wine part of Art and Wine in the Garden. So we have 3 wineries, and pardon me, I'm going to use my cheat sheet so I don't get anything wrong here. The wineries are going to be here from 11 to 3:30. We have Bluebird Cellars, we have Cardwell Hill Cellars, and we have La Chouette. So 3 great wineries. It's going to be fun to do a little tasting and see what you like and maybe take home a bottle or 2.
That is nice. And really food is going to be here too?
We have 2 food trucks. Cheesy Stuffed Burgers has become a regular here at our event, and they do a fantastic job with all sorts of burgers and fries and that type of thing. And we have another food truck called the Spotlight Food Truck, and this is the first year we're having them here. We're excited to see their fare and try it all.
Excellent. So. And then music too?
Music too. And I should probably tell you the food is 11 to 4 on both days, and the music is noon to 3. And we have the Dennis Monroe and the Funked Up Blues Jam. Woo. And we have, that's Saturday. Sunday we have Lewis and the Geezers.
Oh, right.
So,
all different kinds.
Yes, and should be a lot of fun. It's always a festive environment, and grab a glass of wine, listen to some music, walk around and buy some art from some of the fine artists. It's really a great time.
And also spirits, for all those fans of spirits.
We have Spiritopia, which I know you've tried their spirits, and they do a fantastic job. We also have Vivacity Spirits, which which they do a great job too. They're both local. In fact, they're right across the field from us is their location. So,
too close, too
yes,
close.
No, that's a good thing, I think. Yeah.
Well, there is so much going on here, and plus there's all kinds of plants. You know, it's not too late to plant in your garden. It's warm this time of year, but just extra water will make those plants pop and have a great time in the garden. So come on down to Garland Nursery. If you need any more questions answered, please go to gardentime.tv. We'll click over to their website, and you can come on down with your family and have a great time. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoy yourselves. I'm at Little Baja on Burnside, and I'm with Wayne. And Wayne, you guys are container experts. So this is the middle of summer. So what kind of tips do you have for us about watering our containers?
Well, one of the things that concerns us most here at Little Baja is that people, our customers, your viewers, won't give enough water to their trees that are in containers. And containers, trees in containers themselves, need at least 1 to 2 gallons of water every single day, especially in this heat wave we're having, because they don't have any other water source than what we give them. They can't get water from the ground.
And does it matter what kind of tree? Maple, conifer?
Well, the evergreens are a little less sensitive to not getting watered every day. They're not going to immediately shrivel up on you. But you take a sensitive tree like a maple here, ones with the nice delicate leaves, and just one day in 100-degree weather without water, and it'll shrivel up on you, and it'll be dry the rest of the summer.
And what about containers? Terracotta versus concrete glazed?
Well, it makes a little difference, except for the fact that the terracotta is breathes more and tends to dry out faster than concrete or your Asian pottery, and so it's important to make sure that they get watered, especially that as well, them too, and that they have good drainage, because when you give them a couple of gallons a day, you want to make sure that water runs through the bottom and it doesn't flood and stay in the roots.
Well, that's a great tip. So if you have any other questions, please come out to Little Baja. Thanks so much, Wayne.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
When the weekend hits, I would so much rather be hiking in the gorge or day tripping to the beach than spending all day buying a car. But when we decided to get a new Outback at Capital Subaru, we couldn't believe how smooth and quick the process was. They found us the perfect road trip car in no time. We were even able to get a hike in before sunset.
Take on summer in the new 2018 Subaru Outback 2.5i, the most fuel-efficient vehicle in its class. Lease it now just $217 per month.
Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
I can build.
I can build.
I can build, and you can too.
Building a career in the construction industry can kick off a lifetime of security, and the Northwest College of Construction can help you start that career. Apprentices get paid to learn on the job and receive a full scholarship at NWCOC. Northwest College of Construction will teach you how to build.
We can build.
And you can too.
Apply online at nwcoc.com.
A destination farm and garden market featuring the very best each season has to offer. Smith Berry Barn offers seasonal farm fresh fruits and vegetables and specialty herbs and perennials. Visit the historic barn for distinctive gifts, gourmet foods, and homemade milkshakes. Right now we have fresh picked or pick your own berries ready in our fields. Here's what we have to offer this week. Centrally located off of Shoals Ferry Road between Sherwood and Hillsborough, Smith Berry Barn, growing good taste from the ground up.
So I am standing here with Bonnie from the Regional Water Providers Consortium. And Bonnie, we're going to be talking about some tips like a 10-minute gardening thing that you've come up with that I think is actually very clever. So jump right in. How are we doing this?
Yeah, so I am a working mother and I love to garden, but I have very little time to do it in a concentrated time.
Right.
So I try to get things done in a 10-minute segment. So how much can I weed in 10 minutes? How much can I water? Are there plants that I can plug into the garden in 10 minutes? And that way I'm out in the garden,
right,
but I don't have to commit to a big project all at once.
And you know, I've said this to you before, but in my world, the kind of mind I have, I think that for some reason I'm compelled, I have to get everything done in my one day off or something like that.
Yep.
But this idea is much more clever because you can split it up.
Well, and you can enjoy it
Right,
too, right?
right.
Yeah. So it took me a while to figure it out because I was doing kind of that weekend warrior type thing. And that worked well when I didn't have a kid, but now I have a child. And so we work around that schedule and I get to be out in the garden doing the things that I love.
So tell me about this raised garden. How does this work?
Yeah, so this is a great example of succession planting. So my daughter and I planted these vegetables earlier this spring, but we didn't get to this latter part of this bed until last week. So we've just put in some tomatoes and we've got our eggplants and squash. So as these carrots and turnips and beets come and into being harvest ready, we'll be able to plant this area, and then this area will start coming up and be full grown as we move through the summer.
And that also, and sometimes we do this with like early spring and summer plantings, but this then allows throughout the growing season, you're not just hit with harvest all at one time either.
Exactly.
You have it broken up.
Yeah, and that's such a great benefit. And then you get to try so many other different things, right? You don't have to just have one type of vegetable.
And how does watering work in this situation?
Yeah, so we watered obviously just where we've planted when we started out, and now we're watering the whole bed. While these tomatoes get established, we're going to be watering a little bit more. The main thing that we were really focused on too is, again, I have to be able to walk away. So I've put in a drip system that I can put on, and then I actually use my phone to remind me to turn it off because, of course, you know, we all get busy and it's easy to forget to turn the hose
And if
off.
you're having fun, then you forget too. I mean, a lot of times I'll get out there gardening and think, oh my goodness.
Right.
And then you're a big proponent still of using types of mulch.
Yeah, so I've got straw here. You know, it's not for everybody. There's all different kinds of mulch, but the important thing about mulch is that it helps keep the moisture into your soil, but it also helps keep those weeds out. So it's another thing that, you know, with the 10-minute gardening idea, the less you have to weed, the more you can go do other things that you like to do.
Yeah, and I think we often think of it saving water, but a lot of times we do forget that weeding takes time. And especially if you're trying to weed around things you just planted or seedlings, you don't want to pull those up. So the mulch would certainly help in that.
Exactly, yep.
Okay, so the final tip there, Bonnie?
You know, the final tip I would say is just get out and enjoy your garden.
Well, there you have it. And if you think, oh, I didn't get those tips written down, all you have to do is go to gardentime.tv and rewatch this segment. Thanks a lot, Bonnie.
Thank you.
William, any final messages?
Yes. Stay hydrated and have fun.
Such words of wisdom. You know, there's going to be lots of fun down here at Garland Nursery and out in the garden in Molalla.
So for more information on these wonderful events, you can always go to gardentime.tv.
William and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week here on Garden Time.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.